you guys want to talk about it? I know that Lisa has handouts. Have you accepted everything? So thank you guys for coming. I picked each of you for very specific reasons because it's about relationships. And I feel like our relationships with everyone involved in our transaction matter the most. And Lisa is always there when I need her. She's there 7 days a week, and she is part of our Keller Williams community. So she already gets it, right? And if you guys don't know, they mixed with Mutual of Omaha. So she offers so many different things, which you probably don't know that she offers as far as loans, and they're getting more, but she brought handouts for everyone. And make sure that everyone gets a glass. We don't want to kill any turtles today. So we're going to use clear glass, and there's enough for everyone to take one home. That way you remember the class. Also, Jerry Fannin, I'm sure everyone knows Jerry. She's the best. She is taking over bartending for me. I'm gonna do a better job. So from her Hawaii title, I know that she is our preferred title in escrow, and I know that I fight for her hardcore. That's my girl right there. And then Island Inspection Services. And also our go-tos. So this is homemade food, and if you've never had Dawn's homemade food, you're just missing out. So she was the first person I texted. I was like, I need you to bring food, please, 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 please. I couldn't think of anyone else I wanted to do it. And
it's always amazing.
It's always amazing, and I know we get tired of pizza and salad. We want some warm comfort food. And then open bar, whatever you guys want. There's more where it comes from, so we won't run out today. Thank you very much. There's a little bit of dessert left. And then we have gift baskets in the front brought by Jerry. So make sure that your cards go in, and you get to put a second card in if everyone should be putting at least theirs in. Some of you already won the drinking contest. Name that flavor over here. So if you guess the correct flavor, put your card in, so then you have another chance. And if you didn't get to have that drink, please go over here, and Jerry knows the correct answers. She'll make it. If you guess it right, you can put your card in again. And then all of these, when we draw your name, are the different items that you can choose to take home as your gifts. So we have a women's golf shirt. Pretty sure it's a size XL. A men's nice golf shirt, double XL. Another t-shirt. We have a fantastic bottle of tequila. There we go. And for those who just want cute koozies or things to keep your wine warm at night, proper 12. And then we have a great cooler that already comes with the ice packs in it. So make sure that you know there's ice packs inside these, and that way you can throw them in, but great for the beach. And you can pick what you want when your name's Strong. Big, little, whatever you want. And you can draw it and give it to someone else. That's what it's about today. And I think the welcome new people. Thank you so much for putting your name out. So I won't remember to do it.
Oh, I got you.
So putting this picture up here is super vulnerable. That's not a picture I'm proud of, but this week's a really big deal in my life. I moved here 3 years ago yesterday, so I think that's super cool. I moved here thinking I sold my business, and I sold every single thing I ever owned, and came over, was headed this way for a job. And then this thing called COVID hit, and my job went away. And I've already sold pretty much everything I owned. And my mom's cancer went from stage 1 to stage 4 in one doctor's visit. And so she always dreamed of dying by the beach, and that I promised her. And I was like, I have to go anyway, Mom. And I hope you come with me, but let's just take this trip together. And so we left Arkansas, and my husband and I, at the time, we had 8 suitcases and my dog, who is now my therapy dog. And that's all we moved here with. We left everything behind in the storage unit, and we moved over here to also find a place that was big enough to bring my mom over. And all she wanted to do was to drink coffee on the lanai and look at the ocean until she passed away. But she's German and she wouldn't pass away. those 6 months turned into 3 years because she's tough. And then 2 days ago, a memory popped up, and it'll click through in a minute. And my first transaction was 2 years ago on the 21st. And I was able to do that. We went into escrow, and my mom called and said, it's time to come home. I'm going into hospice and I'm done fighting. And we had sent her back to Arkansas so she could be with the family and her church and all that. And she goes, I need you to come home now. And I put it into escrow that night. I took the next flight out. And I was able, because I chose this, I was able to still work and still make a paycheck while I was at home in Arkansas. And I think that's what makes this so incredible. And my broker at the time was Marion, and she was like, you need a TC, I'm going to help you do this. And she made all that possible. But somehow, while I was off island, while I was dealing with all that, I had 2 more transactions. So I came back to a transaction about every 3 weeks in the first 2 to 3 months. So we're going to have life challenges, and it's a matter of how we handle them. I took that jump to come here, even though I lost my job and I arrived with no job. But what I did do is I started a small company. It was massive on the mainland. It's a franchise called Sign Gypsies, but there's 970 on the mainland because I needed a way to make money, even though COVID was going on, and because we couldn't touch people, we couldn't do anything. And I wanted a way to meet the community and really learn Maui. And so I was like, maybe this will make me part of the community and I can get to know people if I have something to get me into their lives and who they are. So that was able to create my beginning database. And so we can be creative on what we do. A lot of people, this isn't your full-time job, but you can take your full-time job, you can take your side hustle and make your database, right? This picture is because after we arrived on the island 3 weeks later, I was in a really bad accident. It was not a car accident, but it was a very bad accident that put me in ICU. And they said they didn't, the only thing I remember is they said they didn't know if I was going to live or die. They didn't know if I got in there fast enough. And they wanted to keep me in ICU so that they could do an MRI every day to see if I was living or dying. And that brain accident left me with a TBI. I had to rebuild and reweb this entire section of my brain. And it came within a hair of my optical nerves. So I lost most of my eyesight. And they said I was lucky that I wasn't completely blind. I had a brain bleed behind each ear, and it was the deepest skull fracture that they'd ever seen. My entire skull was fractured from ear to ear. And then my head was full of brain fluid. So I felt like a snow globe. So for months, whenever I would sit up or stand up, my whole head would just be a snow globe. There's all this fluid in it, and you're nauseous and you can't stand straight. So imagine, because of COVID, I begged and begged and begged for them to let me out of ICU. I just was like, I'll go home. And they made me promise to be on bed rest. RJ, will you do the next slide? So my new life on Maui didn't start as it was supposed to. I didn't have a job. And I was in ICU, and this was my bed rest. And I was pissed because I had rented a house across from the ocean on Front Street, and I got to watch it for months from the couch. So I wasn't allowed to use my eyes. I had to wear that patch on the left eye half the day and switch it to the right eye, the other half, so that I could retrain them to see again, and so that I didn't always see double either. I wasn't allowed devices because they said to rebuild my eyesight back, I had to not look at anything like TV, computers, phones, tablets. Try doing your entire life without that. So everything had to be read to me. And the only saving grace was while I was in quarantine for 14 days, that's how new COVID was. I studied for my real estate exam for 4 hours every single day, got out, ran and took it, and by God's grace, passed the first time. Wow. So even though I couldn't tell you where I lived or who I was, they couldn't take that from me. So this happened a few days after I passed that, and I couldn't tell you what real estate was, but they couldn't take my license from me. And so the doctor said, in order to re-web your brain, you have to learn a new career. So all I did was read and read and read and read through my ears. I wasn't allowed to use my eyes. So I would listen, anything I could do, because I love reading, but I couldn't use my eyes. And to this day, if at the end of the night I'm done, I'll just tell you my eyes are done. They have a limit of how much they can look at technology and screens throughout the day. And when I wake up, they'll never be healed because they wake up feeling tired and strained 24/7. That won't go away, but I wasn't supposed to live, and I did. That's what matters. And I've invited my friends here, some specific friends, and I think what's cool is I've been able to bond because there are 3 of us in this room that have had traumatic brain injuries. They can tell you who they are if they want, but that's a way to bond. You don't know that about us, but all we ask is for forgiveness. Forgiveness when we have those glitches. Because when my brain gets overloaded sometimes, that's the word I was taught, was we have glitches. We just can't quite remember that. And then there's someone else in this room, most of us know and love, that lives with someone who has a traumatic brain injury and at a much higher level than mine. So please, 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 please know that we're trying our best. Know that we are doing the things that we can do, but at the end of it, if I can do it, bring me your excuse that beats that one. You know, like we all have excuses of why we might not be as successful as we want to be, but a lot of us are fighting some real demons off. So when I was in the ICU, the doctor walked in and labeled me retarded. It's a hard diagnosis because when I left Arkansas, I was in a newspaper as Woman Entrepreneur of the Week. I had 5 businesses. I was good at what I did. And then to go from being who I thought was amazing to being labeled retarded, and I would be driven down the road and I asked, what are those things we live by? And my husband would say, do you mean mountains or volcanoes? I don't know. Just tell me those words again. So I had to learn all those words again. And that's an embarrassing way to meet people for the first time, is to come out of quarantine with a patch on your eye, mentally retarded, not able to finish sentences, and you walk like you're drunk. I mean, I walked for 6 months. I would stand up and my head just was swirly. It was just swirly. So I would try and sit up. I try and stand up. Like, kids pointed at me and called me a pirate. And I was like, great, this is a really good way to start my business career off here on this island. I moved here knowing one person. I didn't have a sphere. My second doctor's appointment, my follow-up, he labeled me still retarded. Now this is a clinical definition. So if I offend you, I'm sorry. This is going to be a raw class, and it's raw and open for anyone to ask and say anything. But you should probably leave now if it's offensive. My clinical definition was still retarded. My follow-up, and I've seen every specialist on this island, because I only have 2.5 sentences left. You know, that's hard. And so my third follow-up, he goes, still retarded, but making a little progress. Okay, got it. And he goes, can you tell us where you live? And I go, yes, I live on Maui, M-A-U-I. My husband, he had to go with me because by the time we walked back out to the car, I'd be like, hey, how'd it go? What'd they say? I didn't even, in the moment, I knew what that doctor said. I didn't remember by the time we got in the car. And he goes, well, you told him how to spell Maui because we sure didn't know how to spell that one, Miranda. So that's the level of growth I had to make. So I built this franchise without using my eyes. All my training, everything had to be read to me, and I leaned on people. And then I had to, in order to reweb this entire missing part of my brain, I also had to learn real estate again. I didn't know Excel. I couldn't remember how to use a computer. Poor Marion, I chose Marion as my broker in the beginning because she's mean and German. And that's what my mom was tough and German. And I thought Keone would probably be too nice. And I needed someone who'd push me really, really hard, and push me, she did. A lot of times she pushed me to crying, but she pushed me to be what I used to be. And talk about, I mean, my mom was so tough that when I would call and complain about what I was fighting, she was, but Miranda, you're living. I'm not. She goes, why don't you try that one again? Call me when you have something that compares to what I'm fighting every day with radiation and chemo. Like a bitch, like, no one's feeling sorry for me. Like, I just want, like some love in here. So, I mean, everyone pushed me. Marion was there for me. Marion pushed me hardcore. She was tough. But I think it was also hard. I mean, Sean had Marion too. I think it was hard for them to understand that when we're like, we don't remember what Google Drive is. Please, could you just tell us again, what's the difference between Google Drive and internet? While we're still learning purchase contracts, like Marion, it's not that we're new. It's the fact that we were in Ignite during COVID. Everything is new to us, but I don't even remember how to use a damn computer. Please, just give me the damn answer. Please, it's been 4 effing hours. Like, just tell me the answer, right? So, those relationships in the beginning are the difference. But I call this class, and you can call it whatever you want. The big label of this class is R. And for me, it stands for retarded to rookie of the year, retarded to rock star. It's whatever you want to say. David Bernal from Bold is one of my mentors. And he's always like, you're a rock star. And I'm like, there's my R. It's also about how the relationships got me from one R to the next R. And that's what we're going to go over. RJ, next one. RJ may be asleep on us. So one of the big winners today is going to be who identifies the relationship that most of us don't think about. So you have a marker over behind you, maybe? My hand doesn't always write what my brain thinks, so we'll let her write relationship. So this is there's going to be a couple of big questions today, but I want you to think about what's the one relationship we don't talk about. And that's the question I'm going to leave at the class. And if along the way anyone gets it, you get to choose the first prize you want because they start at $200 and go down. So let's talk about different types of relationships. And I'll let Sasha write these. Throw out answers. What are the different types of relationships?
Relationship with self.
Yeah. Okay. Self. Family. Romantic. Platonic. Work. Spiritual. And what? Clients. So business, right? What's the one that we spend the least amount of time on?
Self. 100%.
And that's right answer. So Angela, you get to pick whatever you would like.
Right now.
Yeah. Come on, bring it. Because we talk about everything else in this class, but how many classes are there that talk about the relationship on ourselves? No. So how much can you give if your bottle's empty?
Speaking of girls. Honestly, I'm thinking about taking myself to the beach.
You are. Yeah, he's gonna fight you on that one, but you can take it.
Mommy, I'll join you.
So who is your accountability partner on self? No. We don't we don't give to ourselves like we should. So who is your accountability partner? Does she remind you to take care of yourself? Okay. Who do you guys have?
Sasha.
Leighton pushed me for a year before I took his advice. I was like, screw him. I just want to work all the time. It's easier because it's numb. Right? Working is my passion. Working is also my hobby. But it's easy because it's numb. And I love it because I can give to others. But who fills our bottles? And do each one of us have somebody? And if you don't, can you find somebody? Can you identify that person today? Because if you can't, I'll be your accountability partner. I need people to dig that into me every single day. And rain as you make it to the beach. Miranda, what, you know? But what are you doing? Because how many people are we taking care of, especially women? And I'm sorry, I love y'all as men in here, but I feel like women wear the most hats. Okay, so as a woman, how many people do we give to on a day? Tell me.
What was the question?
As a woman, who are we? I always say, I'm finally, people are off my tit, finally, for the first time in my 46 years. No one is sucking me dry. Because I have nursed.
Suck me dry.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, they're young. They will for a long time. But
Suck me dry.
okay. So is he sucking you dry? Is he also refilling it? So you can, okay, because if they're only sucking you dry, they got to go. We are neighbors. We are best friends. We are co-workers. We are mothers. We are wives. We are, what else are we? We're chefs. We take care of our yard. We take care of our bills. We take care of our cars, a lot of women. What else do we do in a day?
Our friends. Sorry, our friends.
So how many people are yanking at you and yanking at you and yanking at you and yanking at you? So how many people are filling those people back up so you can still let them yank at you?
None of them.
So should they be in your sphere? Are those healthy? Obviously, we can't get rid of our kids. Husbands are possible, we might, our partners maybe. Besides children, which we can cut off. Yeah. That was the best feeling. My daughter graduated college and got a job. And I'm like, holy crap, I don't have to pay crap anymore ever again. You know, and so that went back into for myself. But how many people at your table of life are pouring back into you? I don't know. Teresa, who I absolutely love, who's one of my favorite co-agents and is a mentor to a lot of you, is very special to me. And she and I flew over because we got to have private time with Brady Sandall. And if you don't know who Brady Sandall is, he's the head of luxury for Keller Williams worldwide. He's the shit. But we got to fly over there. We flew to, he said, I'm on vacation on the Big Island. If you want to have private time with me, come see me. And he never expected us to do it. But we booked a flight, we rented a car and a hotel, and we drove to his house. And he's like, oh shit, they're really here. I guess I'll come down and have lunch with them. And so he came down and gave us an hour and a half of his time. And everything he mentored us on, which was so incredible. It was, as he gets older, his table of life gets smaller. Because how many of us run a buffet right now? I was running a buffet. Whoever needed something from me, it was easier to offer it to them than to offer it to myself. But as we get older, how big is our table? How many people really get your full attention and deserve it? And that's what he said, whether it's a private table for dinner, his life is now like that. How many people have earned the seat at his table to have intimate conversations with him and deserve it? And so I started dropping people that weren't giving back, that weren't important to me. I thought they were, because I think everyone's important to me and I think everyone's my friend. But are they? Would you invite them to your dinner and have an intimate conversation and cook for them? And would they bring something when they arrive? So we have to kind of think about that. Like, how many people are we willing to open our dinner table up to? And the rest should, you know, they're acquaintances, but those aren't relationships that are worth pouring into, right? And I found that that was super important too. Since she already got that one right. So as everyone knows, I talk a lot. I talk too much sometimes. But what I did whenever I was able to leave my house again is I started volunteering to do the food boxes at the church around the corner. Every day, that was my goal. Can I walk 2 blocks over to this church? Can I make it 2 blocks over to this church? Because I couldn't drive. My PTSD wouldn't let me drive forever. And I'm not going to say I'm a great driver still. And I got to meet friends. And those people at that church, those volunteers became my friends. And those relationships were my first sale. They recommended me to my second sale, right? And it was just talking. It was just talking and getting to know people. So one of the things that I really found important, and I told this to someone the other day, is not the quantity of relationships in our business, it's the quality. So in our transaction, how many people are involved from start to finish? Okay, whoever's closer gets another prize accepting. Let's see, let's count them. Give me in a transaction. We now are in escrow. Who's involved?
Agent, escrow,
You're going fast, so someone count. Okay. Co-agent.
lender,
Okay.
escrow agent,
Inspector. Lender. Someone's counting, right? You're counting. Termite. Buyer or seller's agent, so the co-agent. But you also have the other person, whether it's the buyer or seller.
and their assistant. 12.
2 TCs, because I have a TC, they have a TC. Okay, who else?
And the escrow has an assistant.
Okay, who else? You're forgetting some real big ones.
You, broker.
Broker. How many brokers? If
Two.
Keone's off island, who are we bothering next? Allie's part of most of my transactions by default. So you're gonna have that, right? Photographer. Is that also your videographer? What about your referral partner? What about, because Sam's off island, her dad went and covered part of it. So how many are we up to?
17.
And how many of those could you take out that still close?
20. Well, you're telling me.
Most of those are are just as important as anyone else across the board, most, right? Do you take care of them? Do you take care of those people?
Not enough.
Who in here gives a gift to those people? Okay, who do you give a gift to that people don't expect?
Escrow.
Okay, what do you give them?
I do a little like foot cream or candle.
I didn't know that. All right.
Just a little moment.
Note to myself.
Something for self-care along the line.
Okay, no, that's amazing. That's awesome. What else? Who else do you take care of that's above and beyond?
I do it to the agent.
Okay.
Buyers.
Okay. And what do you give them? Like a gift card? I love you and you're always my go-to. I've never thought to give her anything, so that's not part of the bar anymore. Thank you.
I don't expect anything.
But she will take it. Okay, what else do you give? Who do you give to?
To the Scott's agent, I
Okay.
give them the MRE book. And then there's another small little book like for scripts.
Okay.
What to say.
I didn't know people gave to their brokers. I didn't, because we were always in the PC program. I figured if they got a percentage, that's a great gift. That was how I thought. But to me, they make it or break it for us, right? Yeah, so how loyal are we to those? Again, is it quality or quantity? Do what? Quality. So do you guys really reward those people? Because how many things has Lisa done for me for free that we haven't even gotten to close? So how much are we expecting them to work for free? So how can we take care of them beyond just them being in our top tier? We can't refer 6, 7 lenders and they all just be in our top tier and expect them all to pick up our calls the same. Right? Are you loyal to your title and escrow? Because they do a lot of stuff for us that makes us look really good, including our marketing. I know that Scott was headed off island for inspection. He was headed to vacation. And I needed something done quickly. He drove from, he lived in Kihei, drove all the way up to Hanakawai. Did my inspection, then headed to the airport. Didn't tell me he needed to be off island. That was like in a 12-hour differential, right? I asked, he showed up, he did it, then he made it to the airport in a 24-hour turnaround. But we sure do expect it, don't we?
We shouldn't expect it and we should be grateful when we get. the
And this
support.
is just a small reminder, because I'm not saying I do all that. It's just things I sat there and thought about that they make it or break it for us. I try everything because it's not a buyer's choice anymore on title and escrow. It sucks if we want to win. It may not be. They're my go-to. That's why I asked them to come today. They're my go-to. Right? So make sure you take care of your go-tos. It's super important. When you think about the best qualities of a relationship, what are the best qualities?
Reciprocity.
Okay, what else? There's not a right or wrong on this.
Honesty.
What do you, if you think about someone, what do you like most about that person that's always in your head? Your favorite person, what do they do? What are their best qualities?
Personality,
Authentic personality,
they support you unconditionally.
very good. They what? Love.
Integrity.
Thank you on that. That's a great one. It's okay to be human. Those, I didn't know that. I thought I had to pretend like I knew it all. And I would tell you from the beginning, I've had an injury. I apologize. It was my apology instead of, my cover up. I didn't know it was okay to be flawed because I've always been a perfectionist, right? But that's okay. People like humans. It's okay to say, I don't know everything. I thought I had to, but I just don't. And it's okay to ask for help, right? It's okay to be self-deprecating in some situations. You want to be most of us know that in sales you mirror, right? So in relationships, how do you mirror? Like if you go on a listing presentation or a buyer's appointment, how do you mirror them? That's a question. Who has an answer?
Like their pace of
Okay.
speaking. And
Do you find yourself becoming who they are also?
not
Like
necessarily.
common ground as quickly as possible?
Well, yeah, actually, common ground's a good place to create relativity and get past something, sure.
So how fast do you find common ground? Because do people like themselves usually? Yeah. So if you can find common ground with that person and feel similar to them, have similar likes, something in common, well, they maybe like you a little bit faster. Right? So I had to leave the other day. Whenever I was emailing him, I saw it was Jayhawk Lover. Well, that's Kansas Jayhawks, I know that. And so at the end of my email, I just said, go Chiefs. Because I'm from Kansas City. And the guy actually, this is a lead. We had only talked for 2 minutes. And he calls me bright and early the next morning. He's like, go Chiefs. He's like, actually, I'm from Kansas City. Well, we ended up being from the same part of Kansas City. He goes, can I have your address? I want to send you something that's from the Chiefs. Yeah, okay, cool. All because I just, found a common ground. But now he's not looking for that second agent because we're friends. In our mind, we're already friends. So I was sitting at Wowie, our bar and restaurant. And there was a fun group sitting at the table next to me last week. And I started talking to the woman, of course, because I'm always going to talk to the people around me. And it may work, it may not. And I said, well, what were you doing on the island? And she said, I'm head of Garrett's popcorn. Oh, that's super cool. What's popcorn? Where's popcorn, right? I can't taste the difference. if y'all don't know, I can't smell, which means I can't taste food. So if you have a gas problem, I'm really your best ride or die. Because I can't smell the difference. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. We're just in the alley. So I go, well, popcorn is popcorn. And I said, tell you what, next time you're on the island, let me take you to a place that is not touristy, that no one else knows about. And I offer that all the time. Because then all of a sudden I have a value without knowing anything about that person. I have a value. They want to go somewhere that's secret, right? We can come up with those and some things that we know, right? And so I said, hey, I'll give you a card, but can I get your info? Because people usually don't call me when I give them my card. And so she sent me her email and she's like, look, I really am sending it. I was like, okay, cool. But I mean, I'm sure this popcorn is amazing, right? If the whole world's buying it. 4 days later, this damn thing ends up here at the office. This is crazy, all because I talked to the woman at WowWee and we had something in common. I told her KWSE was having this huge event in Chicago where this is out of. And she gives me this massive sampler. It was just a little conversation, and because I get tired of giving my cards out and people not using it, I just asked for her info and just started saying, you know, tell me more about this popcorn. I'm going to do a shout out to all my KWSE agents that are doing a huge Chicago thing. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. And then when Val picked me up on Oahu, I was like, I've heard that there's this great barbecue place and that they have the best Cajun and barbecue, and there's nothing like that here. Will you take me there to eat? And I was like, oh, cool. So I just start BSing with the guy who owns Donnie's Barbecue, which is the best Cajun and barbecue. And I stay in contact with him. Hey, we'd love to have something like this on Maui. You know, there's something like this on Maui. And I touch base every month or two. And I was like, you know, your cake was great that day. Okay. So he said, you know what? He calls me out of the blue. He's like, yeah, my wife and I'd like to come explore options on Maui if you really don't have anything over there. And so I said, I'll pick you up at the airport and we'll go look on Monday. And I shit you not, this guy baked me this 10-pound cake.
Wow.
Now I said I liked his cake. He said it was 10 pounds. It was the heaviest cake you've ever felt. And he said they had to wrestle it through TSA. They were afraid he was putting something in it. So, you know, it's just about those little relationships. And I have a great lender on Oahu who ends up giving me all my last referrals. And those referrals are on Oahu, those referrals are on the Big Island. But that's something I'm getting that you don't have to give a percentage out of, right? And so he always calls his team M&M. And so because I'm cheesy like that, I had M&Ms made and sent to him that have our pictures on it, because I have pictures of us together, so that he can sit there and, you know, have something. If he wants to bite my head off, he can bite my head off. He can eat it so he was like that. I put money on there. You can design all the different M&Ms. So everything, I stalked him and found out he's a massive tennis player. So I just designed the whole packet. So take him if you want. But it's just sending those gifts off, right? To those people that he just sent me a great referral. I closed on it. It took all of those different people. So I was like, you know what? I want to go to the Big Island. I want to go. So I shipped those off to him and I flew into the Big Island last weekend. And Andy Madrid, who's a phenomenal Big Island agent, I said, hey, I want to meet you in person. I feel like we're best friends. So we had breakfast, lunch together. Then surprised my buyers as they had just closed, showed up at their door with a custom gift for them and some liquor. And they're like, holy shit, this is so cool. Because we'd never met. We've done all of this just virtually. And so then I went to the seller's agent, found out where she lived and put a big package on her door. And she sent that out viral. She's like, no one's ever done this. So it's those little things that will keep people. I mean, she may not have a referral partner here, right? But she's not Keller. But that's okay, no one else has ever left her a gift basket on her porch. So it's all those little things that connect the dots, right? How many of you have great referral relationships? Okay, and are those referrals as in vendors, or is that referrals like off island? Okay, so do they, like, they're sending them to you, or you're sending them to them, or both? So how many of you know that that's free money?
The easiest deal you'll do it, unless they did the referral.
And I didn't really quite understand that. But usually for every sale, someone's gonna take that money and buy, or hey, you know, the one that I'm in, hi, Makani, she's buying in California. And all you have to do is say, who's your agent in California? Oh, I have a fabulous one there. I don't know anyone in that damn town, but I'm gonna find one real fast. And hey, they're gonna take you on a tour. They're gonna pick you up when you land, and they're gonna go show you some houses. And then you get a referral. I always ask for 30%. And so far, everyone's given me 30%.
We have a CRS directory too in the back. They have, it's by town even, right? Not only by state, county, but town, so you can do your interviewing of those people and pick the one that possess. There it is, 30%. That.
Get the white pages. For the
They- or
company,
the
get the
KW
white
stuff, yeah.
pages through the internet.
And
Easy ways to find agents.
I'm gonna tell myself this is, but I went to dinner with a gentleman because he was involved in a project that Leighton and I wanted to learn more about. So I took his dinner invitation so that we could learn more from this gentleman. I wasn't gonna date him, but I sat there for 2 hours and I let him talk, and he actually was very interesting. And I wanted to learn more about McKenna Beach and Golf Club. I took one for the team. He didn't care to take Leighton to dinner. He's this short and really old. But at the end of it, I was like, okay, we learned what we needed to know about this project and, you know, just getting some inside information. And he mentioned that he had a grow operation type warehousing in Nebraska, in this podunk town in Nebraska. And I said, my daughter's family's from there. And he's like, what? I go, I know that whole area. I know that whole area. Like, that's my ex-husband, that's his family, like it's super close in the middle of nowhere. And we just started BSing, found that common ground that I happen to know in the middle of nowhere. And I said, I bet I can find you an agent that'll actually get that sold for you. Well, I said way too much because there were no agents near that. There were no KW agents near that town. And so I actually just started Googling like anyone else would. And I found the best ranked agent off of Google and started calling and interviewing them, and was like, we're about to be best friends, right? And I'd like to send you a referral. I'm gonna send you this referral contract. And she called me 2 months later and she had sold it for 1.3 million.
Wow.
And I got this check in the mail of free money. I think it's about $10,000 a couple months ago. And all because I was gonna make something out of that dinner. You know, like, you can turn anything into that. And then what's he doing with that money? Is he just got a ton of money? And I know he lives in a rented apartment here on island. And he walked into my open house the other day at Kaimakani. So it's full circle about how we do that. And most of us don't realize, we don't focus on those referrals, right? And how, you know, just if you're not buying or selling, do you know anyone that is? And it can be anywhere in the world, and our app works there. All we have to do is get them looking at it, right? So that's the easiest free money, and that's my focus. That's my R for this year, is referrals. Because it can, I mean, those are long time relationships. Those are relationships that I have coming out of Vegas, going to Vegas, all the different directions, right? And as long as you impress them, then they're always going to come back and use you, and vice versa. So don't forget you know, to really find your favorites. Where are people migrating from here? And where are people from Vegas migrate, you know, where's our migration pattern coming? Whether it's Washington, California, and find those agents, because we have California laws are changing, their insurance is changing, the weather's changing, so we have so many people moving out of California and looking here, so we need to have referrals in those major areas, so that's something to really think about. One of the main things that I feel like I did that helped me feel secure was I surrounded myself with people that had my strengths or covered my weaknesses. So until I could build my weaknesses into strengths, I always looked for people who made me strong, made me feel strong, even if it was just a feeling. And I made sure Leighton was here because I don't know, a lot of people don't know who Leighton is. And he flies under the radar, but this is Leighton. And I'm sure Keone gets tired of hearing how amazing he is, because I'm always telling Keone that Leighton is amazing.
I agree with it.
But we met each other in the weirdest situation, you know, he had someone he thought might be interested in buying a listing I had. And I talked shit to him. And I called him out on his story. I called him out on some stuff. And he is amazing. All it did was call him out, and I knew he could be anything he ever wanted to be. And along the way, he's given me the strength to be everything that I stand here and I am today. He covered my weaknesses when I didn't feel strong enough to go do what you guys would think were simple. I'd be like, hey, I have a presentation out in Hana, want to roll? Not really. Okay, but will you? Would say yes. And then the next one, hey, I have a person out in Waylo, want to roll with me? Not really. Okay, but will you? And of course he went, and I was like, oh yeah, Courtney's nice had her baby. Can you help me put a sign up while we're out here too? It's not part of the deal. But we met with someone in Waylo Haiku. We put this. And he smiled the entire way. And if you are not having a good day, all you have to do is talk to him, because he makes your day better. I don't know how simpler to say that, but he's happy. What's up? Like, we miss you in the office because you bring this joy and this happiness. And when you're not here,
We energy. I know when Layden's at the front door.
but it's positive from start to finish. And I'm always sitting in Keone's office and I'm like, okay, well, Leighton did this, I'm gonna be more like that. And what Leighton does that I'm trying to work on, I'm not accomplishing it that well, is he listens more than he talks. Yeah, I'm not, but I'm working on it, I know this. He listens and he asks questions. And if you don't know what that's like, sitting down, because somehow he's gonna turn that conversation into you. And he's gonna give a fuck. He is so genuine that he can't even fake it. He gives a shit, even if he doesn't know you. If he asks you a question, he cares about your answer. He doesn't have an agenda to turn it back to himself, which most of us do, right? Or to what we want, which is a sale or a buyer or a seller, or we want something usually. And that's a gift. And he sticks his phone down and he's not distracted during that conversation. And that's something I'm trying to do, is just put my phone down. Because how can you give a fuck if you are looking at your phone the whole time? He'll look you in the eyes. And that's a gift. And it doesn't matter who you are in his life, you're getting a gift from him for no reason. No reason. I'm sure Keone's gotten gifts. If you're in his life, you're gonna get gifts. And I was making my new office the other day and I was going through stuff. I I mean, you can ask poor Ally. I was like, Ally, are you single? Because like, the perfect husband. Like, if he could be 20 years older, he is the perfect man. We went down. I did. She didn't fall for it, so.
She just gave you a look like what?
So, I mean,
Dimples.
yeah. But, you know, right after. And I mean, and he can tell you. I'm blessed and I get to choose who I want to be in my life, part 2. And once I stopped hating and being pissed off, which was the first 2 years, I realized, you know what, this is a gift. I was a shit person in these ways on the mainland. I don't have to have those qualities anymore. I have a clean slate here. No one knows me. And I get to develop what my new personality is and who I am as a person. And most people aren't given that gift. I don't remember who I was. I remember some, and people won't let me forget some things. But with that gift, I can now absorb these qualities that I genuinely just see for the first time in other people. And I can work on so hard on myself and reflect those. And I think that that's a gift, but what God didn't give me back was a full filter. So don't ask me if you don't want to know the truth. But you will get the truth with me, and I love hard, I love deep, and if you're invited to my table of life, I'm your ride or die to the end. To the end, I take care of my people because I keep my circle so small, and I am so loyal to those that I choose to be in my circle and give my time to. And I think that that's one thing that's super important. But when I was building out my new office last week, I was going through these cards, right? And the best Mother's Day card I've ever had. I raised 3 stepchildren, and I have 1 daughter. Wasn't from any of them. Wasn't from a husband. Yes, I had 2. Wasn't from them. It was from Leighton. And I didn't bring it because I didn't want to embarrass him and I didn't want to cry. But I cried. And every time I read it, I cry. And it all started with me not having a filter. You want to tell them what I said?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you that your memory is probably better than mine. You might as well.
Just basic, long story short, you just basic research and, get my shit together, stop being a bitch. That's what I think. I mean, it works until here.
I met him and I saw everything he could be and he should be because he's so young. And for whatever reason, whatever we talked about, I asked him why he was being a whiny bitch. And he said he went home and said, my mom didn't raise no bitch. And he stepped his game up. I meant love. That was unfiltered, but I said it with the utmost love. And when I think of the people who have defined my relationships on this island, he's number 1 usually, or in my top 3. Keone has changed my life as a realtor since he's my broker for a million ways. I have Jerry because of Kai Schmidt. I don't know how many of you know Kai. But during our first Ignite, he was brought in and he was, telling about personal Hawaii title and all these benefits. And okay, awesome. I'll use first Hawaii title. And so I was using them for my marketing and all that. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. We were still in Ignite. I didn't know crap. So I'm using them for all this. And then I have my first deal and he calls me and he goes, Miranda, you didn't use Jerry. I go, yeah, I know. What's up? He's like, but we do those things so you'll use us. Oh, like you gotta spell this out. Like I didn't know it's reciprocated. You said you did this. I called you. Thank you. And I guess he could in my eyes, it was really, oh shit, I didn't. I just didn't. And he knew I was being pure with that and that I purely didn't know I was supposed to do that. And I said, it will never happen again. And you can ask Jerry, whoever Jerry is, I fight for her to the day I fight tooth and nail. I don't always get to use her, but I try my damnedest because that's the word I gave. And Kai became my best friend on islands. And I think it was one time which I was like, Brenda, why are you Ty's agent? He has a license. How do you know all these local people? Like, why are you local? Like, and I was like, he's my person. Sometimes you just find your person, and his wife's amazing. His kids are like, she knows that he's one of my best friends because I love Dasha, love her. And from Kai, I got Jerry. And Jerry and I are soul sisters. You shouldn't have us in the same room, probably. We are way too similar in life, but she also knows she can call me and I'll do anything, whether it's the bocce ball, anything like that. So you find your people. And my people are those people. Those are important people. Sean and I bonded, and I don't want to tell too much, Sean, so I'm being very careful, but Sean was in an accident. And it created a brain injury. And he and I learned from each other, same doctor, same everything. And we were accountability partners. And it was something that whenever I couldn't figure something out, or we just wanted to, right? Not many people know that. And so I love it because it was your word that said glitches, right? That's your word. And it's just seeing that. I don't know, that's why I invited Sean. I thought it was super important to be here because very few people understand at the end of the day, sometimes what my true weaknesses are. Because I'm gonna hide them the best I can. But Sean gets it. He's pure, he's fantastic. Leighton is my man. If I want to be happy, I call him. Dawn and I have a lot in common. Dawn's been through some harrowing experiences. That's her story to tell. But I think that's important that she's here. And when I met her husband, he was like, my wife has been through something, you know, kind of similar. And she's going to give you some tricks. Just text her. Here's some tricks to help your brain build back. And after that, when my brother arrived on island, they took him in because he's also Jehovah's Witness. And they had a dinner party for him. And I mean, come on, guys, that's beyond. That's like level 3, right? In deepness. And that's all because we can relate to each other like that. And then Sasha lives in my world too. And we forget everything we pull on Sasha to do. And that she goes home and lives with someone like me, maybe even worse. So I don't want to say that. But grace, that was the word I learned, was grace. And if you expect grace, you got to give grace. And that's something we didn't have on the mainland. We don't have the same sort of Juliana, grace, any of those things in the South. In the South, it's sweet tea and I'm going to smile to your face and talk shit about you when you turn your back. That's just how it is. And here I quickly learned you have to be a good human because the whole island's going to know if you are or you aren't. And then I messed up because I bought a car no one else has. And I'm the only redhead that wears her hair in a bun every day that drives that car. So I can't even flip you off. if your driving sucks. So I have to behave no matter what I do. Because everyone on the island knows it's me. So again, I kind of be a good human because of that. Hey Bonnie, I love your job. I love that. Sorry. How many of you can tell me your real motive for being in real estate? You go.
That was a big sigh.
Someone throw me. Why are you here? Tell me.
Aligning people with the proper land, so they, their frequency matches with the land and making sure the land where the, anything else is serving the land and land is gonna be.
That's fantastic. That's rare. What is someone else's reason for being in real estate?
My locals here.
That's personal, isn't it? Does that drive you? Does it drive you more than your paycheck?
I just like local housing.
I love that because that's the damn truth, isn't it?
Yeah, I just do that stuff.
So what can you do to turn that into money? Or to maximize, capitalize on that? Find people that have the same hobby.
Right.
Eventually, they probably buy.
Yeah, also I like the food really. Do that.
Nice, very good.
She grew up in.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today too. Thank you. How many of us is it just for the paycheck? And it's okay if it is. That's who I was on the mainland. I worked for money. Money was my motivator. But there's no depth to that. Now money supports my lifestyle. But helping others, mentoring others is what drives me. And I've had a long time to think about that. So what drives you? You have had a phenomenal first career. You don't have to be in real estate. Is it money?
I mean, yeah, I worked in government for 29 years.
Hmm.
And no matter how hard you work, everyone gets paid the same. And wherever you go, you get ones that work on one end of the spectrum, the ones that work on the other.
Hmm.
And so, just being in business for yourself, your hard work should be rewarded. How hard you work. So, I wanted to try.
And by the way, guys, he should be your number one Oahu.
Thanks for
Referral.
the-
I sell him like that. He is my go-to for Oahu. You shouldn't have to have anyone else because he splits his time between Maui and Oahu. And so he knows both islands in and out. So when you need help, he has access to that MLS. He'll pick you up. He'll take you and show you around the island.
We're promising over here now.
But I mean, out of pure heart, but yeah, he's my go-to to, work deals together with. And Andy Madrid is on the Big Island and he always answers the call. Daisha will tell you about that.
Oh, yeah, I just sent her on yesterday.
Nice, nice. So I think it's as important to give because if you're a taker, people don't like takers and they'll see through it, right? So if you're always giving, that fuels the next person to also give. So then you've got this whole spirit of aloha, the full circle, right? So I think Daisha is a rock star. Now, I think a lot of you are rock stars. But I knew Daisha from before real estate. She supported my small business. And I walk into Bold, and I'm like, what are you doing here? But she invested in herself before she even did anything else. And that could have been her last $800.
What? My last $800.
That's what she told me, but I was,
Didn't keep that, I don't think that'd be the.
and she's a rock star. But the difference was, it wasn't amazing the first 6 months. She worked her ass off for nothing.
8 months. It was
8 months. How many of us would have quit in those 8 months?
Lots.
Most people, right? So to be the top of your class, you only have to beat a few other people. And that's the truth. It's not hard to rise to the top because people are gonna weed themselves out. And most people in her class wouldn't have lasted 8 months. But as soon as that first one hit, I mean, she put her last $800 into this class. Which also changed my life, this particular one. And then made no damn money off of it. For 8 months, she didn't quit. And then 5 deals, is that where we're at? So I promise you at the awards this year, I bet she takes my award.
Review of the year. I'm coming for it.
My money's on this one. My money, and that's the difference is if she calls me, I pick up. I pick every time. I'm like, how can I help? How can I help?
Patient is at the office before me every morning, like 7:30, and they all look at it.
She is opening it. She jumps in. Hey, Miranda, how can I help you set up? Hey, Yuko, how can I help you set up? How can I do this? But when my money's on someone, it's the people who give to others. So I'll pick up when she calls me, but she's also always willing to help others. So she's getting poured into, but she's also pouring into others. And that's super, super important that we surround ourselves by those people, right? And if you want to be a rock star, you have to surround yourself with people that have the similar goals. And it's not wrong if you don't have the same goals as me or as Audrey, or, you know, it doesn't matter, but whatever your goals are, you have to find your people and the people that will take you to those goals. I didn't give up, and my first sale was 2.3 million. That was, well, I had a few smaller ones, but the one that I got the award for largest PC sale was 2.3. And it was a third level relationship. I sold one of my first few houses to someone who referred me to that one. And this guy was a hard one to crack, but I knew he was going through a divorce. And so I knew he'd have to sell. And so I'd get up, I'm not a morning person, at 6 a.m. and go walk the coffee farms with him and his dog twice a week, building a relationship so that the first person he would call when he was legally able, he wasn't legally, but able to sell that house was me. And that's the difference in what are you willing to do to get the sale that's still actually genuine. Because sometimes you gotta get out of your comfort zone. But that trajectory changed a lot of things for me. That one sale was one more call. And that's my other theme, is it's always one more. I was so nervous to get my first sale, and they taught us to call FSBOs and expireds. This is still during COVID, right? So I found a FSBO, and I called this guy who's an asshole. Okay, fine, do it yourself. So then I wait a few days and I call back and I was like, hey, I noticed it hasn't sold yet. You know, back, I mean, who knows what I said. He's like, yeah, but it will. Okay, cool. You might consider getting some help. So I went over there and he's like, fine, come tell me what you can offer. Well, I don't know. I'm sure I called Marion and asked her for what I was supposed to say. I don't know what to say. And I wanted this sale. It was at the Spinnaker. And the guy was like, fine, if you fix everything up yourself and make it look good, I'll let you have this, because you have 3 weeks. Oh, shit. He's like, I have to be off island in a month. So we went in there and we painted it. And we fixed the lighting. No, it was only 700 square feet. We did the repairs. I didn't know you weren't supposed to do those things. I wanted this sale. We painted it, we fixed it, we did the repairs, we did the lighting. Marion gave me all this staging shit from her garage. And we staged it and we sold it immediately. And because he was like, I'm pulling it. If you can't sell it for 429,000 in 3 weeks, you're not getting it anymore. You have 3 weeks. Okay. So we did it, and he introduced me to the guy down the way who was growing pot in his second bedroom and bathroom. And that, yeah, we didn't know he had a full-on grow operation because I can't smell it. So when so if that house smells like cat pee or weed, I have no idea. But he had a full grow operation until we saw it. And he said, I've been a broker for 30 years. I'm going to teach you how to do your job, but I'll give you a chance to bring a buyer before I put it on the market in 2 weeks. Okay, cool. So I call Harold, who is our relationship between Keone, and he's the one who brought me Layton. And I was like, hey, let's go door knocking. I live on the Conopoli hillside. I bet one of these people can afford a Spinnaker condo. And so we go door knocking, and Harold was too scared to go knock any of the doors. But he gave me the strength to go do it because he was there. And we just started door knocking this entire neighborhood on the Conopoli hillside. And we get this guy, and he starts talking about how his fiance has had a horrible TBI. She just fell and busted her teeth out and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, me too. And I go, any chance you're looking for an investment property, you know, $440 Spinnaker? And I start walking away. He goes, she is. We just bought another one. She is. And I was like, what? Bullshit. So I go, well, here's my card. If you talk to your fiance who wasn't doing well, let me know. He calls me that night. He says, I have to see it by tomorrow. They put it in a cash offer. We closed in 21 days on it. That was my second one at Spinnaker. And it's always the one more. So, you know, if I hadn't called that guy, the first one, every time I call that first guy, he would tell me he's not interested, he's not interested, he's not interested. And I would pace until I got up the nerve to call him one more time. And that one more time gave me my first sale, that gave me my second sale because I was willing to go door knocking, which wasn't cool during COVID. Like that just wasn't cool at all. At all.
Out
And
of your comfort zone, for sure.
out of my comfort zone. And it just kept going like that. So it's one more, it's one more, it's one more. It's having those relationships. And I've gotten awards. I've gotten awards for the biggest PC. I've gotten awards to be one of the rookies of the year. And I'm blessed, but all I know is it's everyone around me that made me do it. I just got the awards. I didn't earn them by myself. It's the people that are under the radar that support me when I call them. It's Teresa Short, who, whenever I need something, somehow she knows the answer to everything when Keone doesn't answer. Go Razorbacks. He's a Georgia Bulldog fan. This is our way of talking shit. So it's Teresa makes me look good. Leighton gives me the strength when I need it. If I'm having a crappy day, Keone has all the answers. Sasha knows, you know, whenever I need to call her. Michelle always has our back. Right? So yeah, I won some cool awards. I have some medals. I'm not sure what they're for, but they're there. They're cool. And all that really matters though, is it took these relationships of every type to get me to that and to give me the confidence again. And there's so much stuff I have to reiterate in my head. And, you know, lean in on those people, find your people, lean in on them. Don't be afraid to not know something. I thought I had to pretend I knew everything, so I was scared to ask questions, especially to Mary. But lean into those people. One thing that I do that I think is pretty cool, and I learned this from my mom, is I have 3 sets of business cards. I have the cool one that says that I'm part of sports and entertainment. And that's my common ground with everyone is name a sport. And I love every sport, especially if it's competitive or, you know, I don't know anything about Bill, but I know he's a Georgia Bulldogs fan. We can talk like that. Keone, I turn into a man during football season and I go in his office and we just talk football all day. Right? Like we talk, yeah, I'm his man during that period. So when I meet people, a lot of people don't care that I'm in sports and entertainment. So I save that card for those that it might have something. I have my regular business cards, and then I have the magnets that cost a lot of money. So if I think there's a chance it'll turn into a sale, or I want you to remember me, then you're worthy of a magnet, because people don't throw their magnets away. They put it on their fridge. And so if I really want you to continually remember who you're dealing with, I'll give you a magnet. But what I do is I have learned to spray it with an essential oil or perfume. And the reason I do that, and here, I'll let you pass them around. I can't smell, so if it smells like shit, tell me I need a new perfume. Yeah, just tell me if I need a new perfume, but keep one. The idea is to keep one. Keep one with your cup. Keep one. Put it in your purse. Okay. Put it in your purse, put it in your wallet, and see if you think of me every time you smell that, because that's the way it's supposed to work. So my mom would give someone 2 cards, and she would always say, here's one for you, and here's a way for you to refer me. And then she would give it that signature scent, whether it was lavender or whatever you want that smell to be. And people would always think about her and consistently come back as her client because that smell was always in their purse. And they didn't realize the sensory of that, that if you're constantly, we all have different sensories that hit us, but smell will bring back the memory. It tells you if you like that person. So put a very good smell on your business cards and then put those 20 aside and only give those out to people so that they have that sensory memory with you. The other thing I started doing on this last sale was I made the seller a promise. I gave her an envelope with 10 of my cards. And she was like, well, what's this for? And I said, I want to do such a good job and I want to impress you so much that that envelope's empty by the time we finish testing it. And I want you to refer me to 10 people. That's all I ask is that you give my card out to 10 people. And if I'm doing anything that isn't making you happy enough to give my card out, we're just dating. We're just getting to know each other. You can call me, you can text me, we'll talk. But I have to be worthy of you giving this 10 out. And if at the end there's any left, then I want to know what I didn't. And so that's now my promise with every person, whether, you know, it's your buyer or your seller, because I think that's super important. It's not just about closing gifts, which we all give, but it's also, she still has that. Every time I go to her house, it's getting smaller and smaller. And I hope there's 10 people in that complex that she's given them to. So it's these little bitty tricks that we have, I think, that can help us build relationships, help us continue those relationships. Lisa, I would love you to talk about why you're here, and then we'll have Jerry talk about why she's here, and then we'll have Dawn.
Can I just say one thing, Miranda? This is Reignite number 14. And then I made a number.
Thank you guys for showing up for sure. You know, and any tricks or anything, I am easy to reach. I will take the call or I will call you back. And I like sharing my mistakes because I've already done them. And that way you guys don't have to figure it out on your own. Ask me where I've messed up. So I've messed up way more than I've done things right. But please just ask me on all of that. And that's something that'll save you that. If you don't have an accountability partner on something, I would love to be someone's accountability partner. That's something that we can do. I think that's important. My background is like I own a marketing company. So my mind always goes to marketing before sales. And so anything that you can think of like that. And then Lisa, tell us what you bought.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
All right. Yeah, so I joined Keller Home Loans a couple of years ago. Keller Mortgage, now Keller Home Loans, powered by Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. And Miranda calls me generally Thursday, Friday evening. And I'll pick up. Because I know it's Miranda. I will pick up. I will try to answer. I'm like you know, this brain kind of old. Doesn't retain much anymore. I have to do a lot of research generally, so more times than not, I have to call you back with answers. And, you know, I'll do research, I'll call you back. If I can't do it, I hope I know somebody that can do it. Like I said, we recently merged with Mutual of Omaha Mortgage, so I need a new logo, so the new colors we match. I'll put it in there. So please come and grab a flyer. We have some fun and new programs that Mutual of Omaha Mortgage from the table for us. Condo town, we go now. Outline loans, I have renovation, like we have some fixing that I couldn't, she was telling me. You know, just let me know what your questions are.
Lisa does a great job and they're offering more and more and more. And she is always there for us. If she doesn't pick up, she'll call you back. But a lot of lenders don't call you back in the evenings. They don't call you back on the weekends. And I think that's important. And it's important to support our own. And she's still part of the KW umbrella, the KW family. And we've got to support ourselves on this. Even though we're getting closer. Just like the rest of us, we do most of our work for free. And every once in a while we get a paycheck. That's the truth. She works for Outsock for free and from me, she hasn't gotten a paycheck yet, but she still answers. Please help yourself to any popcorn. I told Nicole to pass it around. I can't taste it. I hate it to go to waste.
Maybe put it in the back and then.
Yeah, so help yourself all you want. Okay. Okay, Jerry, hey.
Thank you for having me, Miranda. We appreciate it. We have done deals together, a lot of deals, and I've worked with, quite a few people in this room. I just like to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to help with your title transfer needs. And does Lisa answer her phone? I do as well, whether it's a holiday, weekend, at night, I try to be there for you folks. If you guys have any questions, I can try to answer your questions. But again, if it has to do with the title, then of course we can treat us like title department to get back to you. Majority of the questions I can answer for you guys. Let me know if I can help you guys with any, pulling any title commitment or preliminary title reports. If I can work up any estimates for you, whether it's a color or fire estimate, I think I can get that out for you. But anyhow, I have my contact information here for our TV brand, War, and then as well for myself. But again, yes, thank you for having me and, appreciate you guys. Oh, and yeah.
Everyone put their card in. She's got these gift baskets.
Yeah, everybody got their card? I got 2 gift baskets. You want.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh, there's more of
No,
you.
there are more of you.
You guys don't wanna win anything? Write it
Put
down.
the name on my card if you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody? Is you?
Oh,
Anybody else? Oh, you got one, okay.
Thank you, Miranda.
Trust me. Well, I don't wanna bring it home. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. You go. Peony, Angela won the cooler. She picked it while you were gone. Let's see, where did I get a piece of paper? Nicole.
Okay.
Very cool, darling.
All right, now, in the order that I picked your name, you can come in. We have tequila left. We have a women's golf shirt. We have a men's golf shirt. We have a big T-shirt, and we have lots of cute little things that if anyone doesn't come and get, you can get. And I won't take any of the liquor home. I'm not actually much of a drinker. And so whatever you guys want, we can either leave here or take some leftovers.
Don't open it in your car, please.
Yes, no,
We will continue.
You might smell it.
Peony, you get to come. You get to come choose what you want.
Probably the golf shirt, right?
The golf shirt, yeah. No, were you here?
No.
He picked the golf shirt earlier that he wanted, and Daisha and I were like, we think that's a women's.
Oh.
Yeah. More. Okay, so if there's nothing up here you want, get it and give it to someone who, because it's sized, that it might fit, okay? So just say, hey, I fit that size. Sandra! I know this is a women's XL. And this is a 2XL, and I'm pretty sure
That looks like.
it's a 2.
Yeah.
They shrink too. They shrink. Oh, yeah. Good. Okay, let's pick a piece of paper. Rosalina. She gets the drink, caramel butterscotch. So I think that one doesn't want it. Okay. Yay. Thank you. And then we'll make anyone in here. We'll have a 2XL t-shirt left, and then you guys can come and take all of those you want. Dawn. This may not fit you, but it shrinks. It may fit someone.
You need some weight.
It may fit someone. All right, in all fairness, y'all can have those, whoever wants them, whoever didn't win anything, they're cute koozies and spa sweaters from Proper 12. And then I know Dawn, it's her turn to come talk to us about inspection, and she has giveaways. Yeah.
We're here to fill the bar.
Do you need this bowl?
No, I got this.
Okay.
Did anybody not get your card in here? But hey, how about this lady here? The thing I love about her is she treats everybody like her best friend. And that's, my dad sold real estate for 50 years. And he treated everyone like his best friend. The only caveat he had with real estate is he said, if I want to make $1 million in real estate, I start with 2.
That's funny.
That was a thing he would do, but he did very well. So, anybody have questions about?
Does everyone know
questions Or,
who she is?
Yes.
Island Inspection
so I sent him
Services.
back out to work, so he brought. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's some cookies on the table there in those boxes, so. feel free. So I just do that because we like to make marketing fun, so. Cooking and things like that. is what I enjoy, so.
Y'all are gonna need to eat or drink for the rest of the day.
Yeah, yeah, and if anyone wants to take any home, go for it.
She got lots of food over here. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to take it with her.
Going on vacation Wednesday. So we're gonna do the drawing. Anybody have any questions? Feel free. First thing is about a motion. So I'm not gonna take responsibility for this. so.
I won't even. Val Martin.
Have check luggage.
Thank you.
All right, now she has a good wine, right?
Yeah, I have a red wine from Argentina.
Nicolay,
Oh.
right? Did I say it? Nicolai. Yes, I'm trying to say it right. Yes, Nicolai.
You're
Congratulations.
They've got a couple of coffee cards for Kraken. And so 2 more drawings.
We have, oh, you may have to give it away, Sasha.
Oh, yeah, it is a Bowen.
Go on, okay.
We have a limit of 1.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Oh,
just saying.
okay, Bowen, here we go. Okay, we're gonna draw again then.
Okay, Bowen, you want that one? Sasha's given hers to him,
Okay. Okay.
and then we have Aubrey. Her night. Hard too.
It is a really good card. Thanks so much.
Thank
Oh,
you.
appreciate all the hard work. Any questions, feel free to let us know.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Make sure everyone has a glass to take home to the bill. Barb still has money left. There's glass. Take it home.
Party. Yeah.
A glass.
Well, it's right
Okay.
here. Yeah. You know,
Right. I'm good. That would be talking about.
For you, for Ally.
You're
I'm good. How are you? Well, you did it out this morning. Yeah, this is.
I saw you have some.
I mean.
No, well, Marty.
Well, I got Wednesday.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, I'm seeing you.
But, well, no, actually. I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I, Space of about. That's not the option, but it's another.
I know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just sitting there like. this shouldn't-
Yeah,
About letting it happen.
that's why I don't use it. Yes. Yeah.
Just along the side.
Good. That's a good- good. Kids. Yeah. We're counting each new music. We're getting, in my business, when they bring in you to. Yeah, we're like 30, 70, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, take all you want.
Oh, you know I am.
How you know?
This is the vegetarian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are good.
What's wrong? I'm not embarrassed that I am taking sleep.
I need to do that.
Yes, absolutely. That I'm sorry to keep the word you made. You. It's a lot. No. This is my dinner party. My son.
Yeah.
I'm taking food.
But. You're not together, right?
Great job.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know,
I mean, you can put nice things about you when you're in your office.
That was so nice, I was like, no. Yeah. Yeah, I know, I'm like.
Stick it on the chips. Put it on top of chips.
Yeah. I know.
Yes.
Well, no, I smile.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.